The road to the Sahara is one of the most iconic journeys on earth, but the difference between a good trip and a legendary one is all in the details. I just spent 3 days traveling 600 kilometers across Morocco from the snow-capped high Atlas Mountains to the golden dunes of Ercheri. I'm going to show you exactly how to do this trip, what to pack to survive the 10-hour van rides, and why upgrading to luxury tent was the best $100 spent. This is the ultimate guide to the Marrakech Merzouga desert adventure. Day 1 kicked off early with a 6:40 a.m. pickup. Our driver was spot on with the timing and we headed straight into the mountains, hitting our first coffee break about 2 hours in. Just a heads up, you'll be crossing the Tizi and Tishka Pass, which sits over 2,200 meters. The views are absolutely stunning, but the hairpin turns are intense. If you get even a bit motion sick, definitely take some Dramamine or Gravol before you leave Marrakech. This makes the climb so much more enjoyable. After the coffee break, we spent another 50 minutes climbing higher until we pulled over to actually soak in the Atlas Mountains. Honestly, pictures don't do this place justice. It's this massive, rugged range that feels like it's guarding the rest of the country. Pradeep and I just stood there for a minute trying to soak it all in. We got a bunch of pictures of the landscape along with us in it, and we hopped back in to continue the drive towards Ait Benhaddou. After another 2 hours on the road, we finally reached Ait Benhaddou. If this place looks familiar, it's because it's basically Hollywood's backyard. Everything from Gladiator to Game of Thrones was filmed right here. It is this massive, ancient, fortified village made entirely of red mud and straw. Honestly, seeing how these structures have survived since the 11th century is incredible. Only a handful of families still live inside the old walls today. Most of them have moved across the river to more modern homes, but the soul of this place is still very much alive. So quick tip, you'll likely be offered a local guide for about 30 Moroccan dirhams. It is totally worth it. Our guide gave us the real story of the Berber families who built this place and explained how the architecture naturally keeps the rooms cool even in the desert heat. One of the coolest things we saw was the local art. We actually bought a painting for a home made with a mix of saffron and green tea. They use a cryptic painting technique where the paper almost looks blank until they heat it over a flame, and then the colors in the calligraphy just pop. We even had them customize it with our names. There was zero pressure to buy anything, but watching the art literally come to life over the fire was the highlight for both of us.
Yes. Now you see just two colors, saffron, indigo. It's invisible. We heat it.
Smells good.
Cream brulee.
Sugar, yeah, because of the sugar.
Very magic. Oh, the color it speaks forever. It's dry, so the black guys, it's tea with sugar. Yellow is saffron, blue indigo. All this painting, guys, is the same technique, same demonstration. This technique, guys, is only in this village. It's not anywhere.
One thing to keep in mind though is the local guide will almost always lead you into a scarf shop at the end of the tour. It's a bit of a standard routine. They'll show you these cotton scarves, which are basically long pieces of cloth meant to protect your face from the sand and wind once you hit the desert. Expect them to ask around 240 Moroccan dirhams, close to about 24 USD, for one of the scarves. Honestly, you don't need to buy it there. You can easily bring a scarf from home or find something elsewhere for cheaper. But if you aren't interested, just be firm but polite. The hospitality is great, but don't feel pressure into a purchase just because you enjoyed the tour. After the tour, we headed for lunch. One thing to keep in mind with this specific trip is that while breakfast and dinner are covered, lunch is on you. Most of the stops the van pulls into will charge you around 120 to 130 Moroccan dirhams for a meal. Let's be real, it's definitely tourist pricing and a bit overpriced for what it is, but it's convenient. If you're looking to save, you can totally pack your own snacks or a sandwich from Marrakech. After refueling, we had a solid 2.5 hour stretch on the road straight to our accommodation for the night. Interestingly, for the first night, the hotel is actually the same whether you choose the standard or the luxury package. We did opt for the luxury upgrade for the full trip, so stick around, we're going to show you exactly what the luxury tent looks like and if it's actually worth the extra $100 per person. We pulled up to the hotel around 6 p.m. The place was pretty modest, but the vibes were great. They welcomed us with some traditional Moroccan mint tea right away, which is exactly what we needed. After grabbing our keys, we took a quick breather into the room before heading down for dinner and music at 8 p.m. Dinner was a full spread of traditional Moroccan food. We started with some soup and fresh bread, followed by a massive chicken tagine and couscous. Honestly, by the time we finished, we were both so exhausted from the road that we just showered and crashed. Good morning! We're into day 2 of our trip, and this morning is a quick turnaround. We had to be ready to leave by 7:45 a.m., so we hit breakfast at 7. I made sure to grab 2 large cups of coffee to fuel up because day 2 is the big one. It is the day we finally head into the Sahara. So excited! About 2 hours into the drive, we hit the village of Tinghir, and the change in scenery was wild. We met up with a local guide who walked us through these massive, lush palm groves that just seemed to pop out of nowhere in the middle of the red rock. The coolest part was seeing how they actually keep this place alive. They use this ancient irrigation system that's been around for centuries. As you walk through the village, you'll see these small stone canals between the houses. Our guide explained that the water is shared among the different family plots on a super specific schedule. It's one of these things you totally walk past without realizing how much coordination and history is behind it. Like a lot of these stops, we ended up at a local carpet store. They showed us how the Berber patterns actually tell stories, which was honestly pretty interesting to see up close. Just a few minutes away from the village is the Todra Gorge, and honestly, this place is staggering. You're walking on a tiny road at the bottom of a massive limestone canyon with cliffs that towers 300 meters above you. The air in the gorge stays surprisingly very cool thanks to the massive shadow and the river running right through the center. Prateet and me took a walk along the water. We saw a bunch of goats just chilling by the river, completely unfazed by everything. It's these little random moments that make the landscape feel so alive. You've also got rock climbers scaling the vertical walls and local families hanging out by the stream. After this, our next stop was lunch at this local family-owned spot, and honestly, the food was on a completely different level compared to the day before. You could tell it was home cooked. The highlight for me was trying the Berber pizza or matfouana. It's basically this thick stuffed flatbread filled with meat, onions and spices, and it's a total staple in this region. After we soaked in the views, we jumped back into the van for the final leg of our journey towards the dune. By 4 p.m., we finally rolled into Merzouga, and this is where the payment literally ends. It is the gateway to the dunes, and the energy changes the second you step out of the van. A quick logistic tip: you don't take your big suitcase into the desert. We packed a small overnight bag with essentials like sunscreen, power bank, a change of clothes, and of course our scarves. If you've opted for the luxury camp, your luggage actually gets driven out to the camp in a 4x4. But if you're doing the standard camp, the camels are the ones carrying your bags. But before the camel trek, we decided to kick things up a notch and opted for an ATV ride, which costs about 400 to 500 Moroccan dirhams for an hour. Honestly, it was a total blast. I've done the desert quad biking in Dubai before, but this felt completely different. The dunes here at Ait Benhaddou are so much steeper and taller. It feels less like a flat track and more like you're actually navigating a shifting mountain range. After the adrenaline rush, we met up with our camels for the 1-hour ride into the deep dunes. It's undeniably iconic, but let's be real, it's not exactly a reclining chair. It's a bit of a workout for your legs and a huge heads up. Hold on to the handle tight when the camel stands up or sits down. That's the moment most people lose their balance and fall. Also, if you're not comfortable with a camel ride for ethical reasons or just don't like the idea of the trek, you do not have to do it. Just let your tour provider know in advance and they can usually drive you to the camp in a 4x4, either free of cost or for an extra fee. While we were out in the dunes, I also tried sandboarding for the first time. Honestly, it was so much fun. It's way harder than it looks to stay upright, and the sand isn't exactly as soft as snow if you take a tumble. It's one of those must-do desert moments that just elevates your trip. After an hour and a half on the camel, we finally reached the campsite. And now for the big question. Is the luxury tent actually worth it? On most standard tours, you're looking at a tent with shared bathrooms, which is fine if you're really roughing it, but I opted for the upgrade and honestly, it changed the whole experience. Habibi, welcome to Sahara! First and foremost, private bathrooms. Having a toilet and a hot shower in the middle of the dunes is a total game changer. Sand gets everywhere, in your hair, your clothes, your gear, and being able to actually wash it off and feel human before bed is priceless. So if a private shower isn't a game changer for you, save your money and stick to the standard package. You'll still get the full desert experience, but if privacy and washing of the sand is a priority, go for the luxury option. There's a wash basin here, toilet on this side, and then a shower. That's the room. We gotta head for dinner in 10 minutes. So, this is gonna be fun. And next up is the food. The luxury camp usually serves a more intimate 3-course dinner. We had the harira soup, a really tender lamb tagine, and fresh fruit. I booked my tour via Get Your Guide and I'll share the link in the description box below, but I 10 on 10 recommend the luxury option. But honestly, the real highlight was afterwards. We gathered around the campfire for traditional Berber drumming under the stars, and this became a total core memory. We got lucky with a super energetic group, so the vibes were phenomenal. We ended up dancing around the fire for over an hour before finally crashing for the night. Today is the last and final day of our tour. We started this morning early. We grabbed a quick breakfast, checked out, and hopped back onto the camels for an hour trek back to the base. It was actually pretty cloudy, so unfortunately we missed the sunrise, which was a bit of a bummer, but honestly, just being out there in that vast silence was surreal enough. I left feeling so incredibly grateful for having experienced this place at least once in my lifetime. Day 3 is really just about the haul back. It's a solid 8 to 9 hour drive straight back to Marrakech. With this, we come to an end of this video. I really hope this guide helps you plan your own trip to the Sahara. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel. And subscribe if you want to come along on the next journey. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.